Yeah,
A little
a
premature. It's all right.
little premature,
Now we're live on YouTube.
man.
Sweet. All
It's a
right.
big deal in 2023.
I know. We're only 15 years behind everybody else that's big on YouTube. No big deal.
Yeah, there's overnight sensations. I'm just gonna start reviewing kids' toys and
Some
make a small
40-year-old
fortune.
man.
I know it's a little weird, but
That would be great.
I've seen the kids making money
It's
on
like,
it,
dude, a
so I'm gonna try.
7-year-old can do it. I can do it. Like,
Yeah.
missing the point. Well,
Well,
we
speaking
have,
of YouTube
yeah,
and
do it.
all the product reviews and stuff, this is sort of like that, but a little different.
Hmm.
This is somewhat inspired by conversations that Ross and I have had, really just trying to help each other out in different ways. You know, what do you think about this product, or what do you think about that, or what are you wearing this season?
Hmm.
So it
What are you
kind
wearing
of
tonight?
culminated. Yeah, what are you wearing tonight? What are you wearing right now? But or what are you using right now? Whatever the question may be. We decided that with Christmas upon us, like everybody, like myself and everyone else I know, we're all too busy. We're all last minute shoppers. Online is a great way to access this stuff. So we thought we would just give some gift ideas. And first and foremost, I want to preface Ross and I are neither paid nor endorsed necessarily by anyone. We have some working friendships that have become partnerships on this podcast, and there will be some products from like Born Primitive, Montana Knife Company. There will be products, but those are things. If you look at any photo of me in the field, I'm wearing those things, and I'm not
Right.
paid to wear them. I'm not asked to wear them. I got the gear to test some, and it was really, really good. That evolved into Ross getting some of the gear and whatnot, and then it evolved into this podcast. Kind of partnership that we have going with them. But there are companies out there that we have no contact with whatsoever that we're going to be representing as well. And I just want you guys to understand, I know and understand as well as anybody alive how far a dollar goes and how far a dollar doesn't. And right now, anything that I say in this list is because I've used it repeatedly, would spend my own money on it, have spent my own money on it, and would look you in the face, shake your hand, and say, I believe this will satisfy whatever you're looking for in this type of product. And I know Ross
Yep.
feels the same.
Yeah. And also it's just we wanted to do it because we check in on this stuff with each other a lot, but also we get all kinds of messages about, what whether it's apparel, whether it's hunting stuff. We've
Hmm.
done a lot of the archery episodes already with startups for there. But it's like, well, what do you guys like about this? Or,
Yeah.
and one of the messages that we got recently was, I'd rather have stuff that you guys have tested and like used personally and be like, I'd actually rather not recommend this product. Like those kind of
Yeah.
things are just as important as well. But we're not going to do so much of that today because we wanted to highlight some of the things that we actually have really, especially in this last year. A lot of these things have been things we've kind of put through the ringer to a
Hmm.
degree in the last year plus. And so we really wanted to just take this to kind of kill two birds with one stone and be like, we're answering questions that we get all the time about what we use, but then also like, oh, here's great time of year to
Yeah.
like go out and you did something cool in the message that you sent me where you kind of even broke it down budget wise too. Like you have some
Yeah.
under $50 items, under 100, 200, 500, like just depending on your budget, what would be
How
satisfactory.
much you love your man.
I love you
You know,
this
we'll just put it
dollar amount worth.
there. Now, but what I was going to say, it would be hilarious to do. It would be also like scorched earth as far as like any future promotions. But if you did a like, do not buy this,
Just the straight episode of
man,
blacklisted products.
yeah, I would have some really sore. I don't know. I'd have some people pretty pissed off at me, I believe. But
100%.
anything I could say on that episode would be absolute truth. And if you scroll back throughout my Instagram and see what I'm no longer using, the truth is in there.
Well, and a good
So
point to go with that too. Like if you ask, we're not,
yeah,
like if there's stuff like that that we would say, hey, I wouldn't get
yeah,
this or I wouldn't work over here. Like we're not going to not tell you that if you ask,
yeah.
like
Well, and the other thing about that too is it's more so that I will give you the reasons that
yep,
I no longer use it rather
yep,
than just don't use it.
yep,
Because I don't want to have such a sway of your opinion because I say something. I'll give you anecdotal evidence to consider. And that to me, like you said, if somebody asks me that directly about a product, I'm never going to say don't buy this one or that one. But if
right,
they ask me about a product that I know I had struggles with,
yep,
I will give them that reality. So
Yep.
don't ever hesitate. It's always valuable, kind of back and forth, because I've had people ask me about things, and I ended up learning about a product that I've ended up using or found valuable
Yep.
through that conversation. So
Yep.
all of it's good. Yeah. So you want to crack into it?
Yeah, let's do it. The holiday gift guide episode commences. I have these organized kind of by category. So
Mm-hmm.
we have hunt, we have training, and then I have like food slash supplement, kind of like that whole realm of
Sure.
stuff, because that is the three main areas that everything we do kind of revolves around to a degree, right?
Right.
So I figured let's just actually, this might be a fun one to start with because it's the lightest one, but kind of on the kitchen slash food slash sups thing. I think would be a
Mm-hmm.
fun place to start.
Sure.
So if we can do this, we each have kind of our own lists, and we can kind of
Yep.
go through a handful of these. We have no idea how long this is going to take, by the way.
Years.
Yeah, we get going on stuff like this, it might take a while, but I'll just kind of roll through the handful that I have and kind of give
Okay.
a little brief explanation on each, where you can find them, who's involved, kind of a thing. And we'll just go from there. We'll find a better way to do this as we go along.
Yep.
First one I have, because no surprise, I'm a giant coffee dude, right? As you guys
Yep.
probably know. Um, Recently come into some great coffee that I know you have as well. I'm actually wearing his hat right now, but Steady Grounds Coffee
Mm-hmm.
Co. Um, Good friend George Adams and his wife operate that out of Mississippi. Everything is small batch roasted, like they literally roast every bag made to order, and it's no joke. I'm not just saying this because he's a friend and we've done some stuff together work wise now, but like it's seriously some of the best coffee I've ever had.
Well,
And
what's funny about you saying that is when I posted stories sharing that,
mhm,
um, a couple of comments rolled in is like, yeah, man, that is a good cup of coffee. So
yeah,
like you thought it, I thought it, and what's your go-to if it's not Steady Grounds? Like what's a comparative taste profile?
man,
And what's your flavor at Steady Grounds? Are you to the Mississippi?
yeah. And on that front, I guess this will come out this week, so it won't be technically out yet, but George and I are working on one, uh, the Nomad roast together, that
Oh,
should be out in the next
excellent.
couple of weeks, which is another
I
dark.
appreciate you guys cutting me out of that deal, but that's cool. I appreciate it.
Another dark roast, but it's kind of a blend. And so
Yeah.
we've been doing some taste testing on that, which is real good. But the Mississippi Midnight is my favorite of theirs currently, but the
Yeah.
Nomad is taking over that spot, obviously. But as far as
Sure.
other brands, the thing I like about how he does it, because kind of the popular thing with a lot of these small batch places
Hmm.
now is this profile of kind of this tangy, like soury almost. And it's the same thing happens with beer. Like that's whatever, for
Sure.
whatever reason,
Yeah.
is like sour beers, and kind of this tangy sour taste in coffee is really like the thing that's popular right now, and I don't like it at all.
Yeah.
And I'm much more of a good solid medium dark to dark roast kind of
Yep.
guy, which is where you can actually taste the flavor of the coffee beans rather than just like this real weird tangy taste.
Yeah.
But I don't even know, like the Wild River stuff that I used to do was really good. I like that one.
Hmm.
Um, if we're going like straight commercial stuff that's you can get like at Walmart, I've always liked Pete's. Like Pete's has been really good.
Yeah.
They have
Yeah.
some good roast, but yeah, I would say, and more so just because of how fresh everything is when George roasted and sends it out made to order, like that makes the biggest difference in the world anyways. Like doesn't
Yeah.
matter on much of that other stuff if it's been sitting on a shelf for a month and a half.
For sure. Well, and that's the thing is like I'm a Cafe Bustelo guy. Like I like the stronger, more
Espresso,
espresso.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cuban
So
coffees, man.
the Mississippi Midnight really touches on that. And then I can't remember the other one that I have right now. It's really good. I would say it is lighter than that, but more of like a, if you wanted, if I were to introduce somebody to George's coffee, I would probably say here, start here,
Yep.
because some people don't like that stronger roast, and that Mississippi is like,
The
it is a
the
dark
it
roast.
is, and it punches you. But I like that.
I do too. That's my preference. I mean, I don't want to drink a cup of coffee to drink brown water. Like I want to taste it. I want
Yeah.
to get the energy pump and
Right.
all that stuff. So for me, I'm a Cafe Bustelo or Cafe Bustelo, however you want to say it. I tend to go to like the the Just Black at Black Rifle or the AK, those kind of
Yep.
flavor profiles from Black Rifle, something that people might know. I like the Dunkin', just the Dunkin' regular decaf at
Yeah.
night if I'm going to drink some coffee at night.
You put a coffee kit on your list, and I actually didn't even open up that link. Was that like a coffee maker kit?
No, so what I did is I kind of touched on this from the aspect of like things like those little things that I enjoy, like just a simple like textural things that I enjoy or the process things that I enjoy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So for me, that was one of the Chemex pour over coffee
Yeah, you
kits.
like the
Okay.
Chemex.
Yep. So it's $70. It comes with the carafe. It comes with filters. I think it even comes with a mug and a bag of coffee. But we are going to include a link in there. I've been using that for a couple of years now. I got that from my friend Paul at Black Rifle during their edition. But it's just been something that like the novelty of it was like, okay, a friend of mine gave it to me, use it, try it out. That's enough. But then I actually liked it, and I could tell the subtle differences between when I made it like that or in a Keurig or in a conventional, drip over. But the thing about the pour over is you can control the temperature that you pour at. You can control the speed that you pour
Yep.
at, the weight of the grains, all or of the grounds, all of that stuff. So that's one. And for $68, you can get the whole kit. Like I said, we'll provide links for this stuff. But the other just to touch on coffee as well. If you followed me or my stories at any length of time whatsoever, you have seen these mugs or variations of this
Love
company's
those
mugs.
mugs.
This is Red Bison. They're out of Wyoming, and this is their iconic Red Bison Buffalo mug. I also have one in an elk. I have a Buffalo. It's kind of a Stein type thing. It's got a gangstered out buffalo with
Yep.
gold flake on it.
Yep.
A couple other things out of there, but those run about $40. It is a small business, made in America, made in Wyoming, and it's a craftsman. It's an artist. So that's my two for the kind of the kitchen thing, and maybe one more. Um,
I'm
if
glad
you
you brought
wanted to
up the
say,
Chemex thing too, because I do French press for like
yep.
regular just black drip coffee style things. So I mean, we can link an
Mhm.
easy French press. There's all kinds of those. You can go to Walmart; they're
Yeah,
everywhere.
I mean those are, and
Um,
again, it's not a better than or less than. It's just a style. Like I like a French press too.
yeah,
The pour over is just something I play a little music. I kind of get things going. It's not like
it's
the
the
French press is even
process.
less. It's even the less hands on. But I am a person who gets satisfaction in building something. So
That's what I
that's
do with
it.
the
I
espressos. So when
I
when I get into
build
my
my damn cup of coffee.
that's right. When I get into my espresso mode, I'm in that same because that's what I usually do French press in the morning that
Hmm.
that Molly and I split, and then I'll have like early afternoon. I'll make an espresso, whatever. If it's a latte version, sometimes just straight double shot of espresso. But like getting into that whole
Yeah.
zone of making and grinding and doing all that, that's kind of where I am with that. So I'll link with which espresso machine I have too, because that's an easy one from Amazon.
Yep.
I have a couple more in this realm.
Okay.
I did a cooler because
Yep.
that's something that's easy. Great gift guide as well. Been using Cordova stuff for
Yep.
a while, and they're local to me. Their whole warehouse where they make everything is 3 miles from my house. Been out there,
Yep.
met the people there, met the guy who owns the company, Gentry. He's awesome. They make everything right there in the shop, and I was really sold on it when I watched him do a test next to a Yeti where I don't know
Hmm.
if you saw this video on their Instagram or not, but they filled a whole cooler. I can't remember if it was one of their like larger sized ones, filled it with ice, shut it, locked it. Did the same thing with a Yeti, filled it with ice, same size, shut it, locked it, and then they dropped both of them off the roof of the warehouse.
Yeah.
And the Yeti exploded. Like,
Yeah.
like they dropped them at the exact same time. The Yeti exploded. Ice was everywhere. It was all dented up, and the Cordova was still sealed shut. There was like one little scratch on the bottom, and it was
Yeah.
just like crazy to see it happen. And I'm like, okay, well, that makes a difference to me. I'm putting things through the ringer and dropping them out of the back of trucks and all that kind of stuff. So, um, stocking stuffer type of gifts in that regard also.
I lost your audio for 1 second there. What'd you say as far as stocking stuffers?
They just came out with a whole new line of drinkware that's actually in this
Oh yeah.
that's in
Yeah.
this week. Actually, I'm gonna go pick some up today. from the shop. And so that's going to be, I think it might be available prior to Christmas, but that they have a whole new line of stuff that's going to be out soon. That's going to be really cool for that kind of stuff, little small, that'd be in the under $50 category of cool gifts.
Yeah, well, and these next two that I'm going to throw at you, they kind of still fit into the model of kitchen, or not really, but kind of, but also in the stocking stuffer. So I put down the Montana Knife Company Jackstone.
Yeah.
That's the knife that I've been really kind of partial to here lately.
That's Snyder's
Um,
collab, right? That's the one that
yeah,
that one
it's
is.
it's
Yeah.
essentially kind of inspired by a Canadian belt knife.
Hmm.
And if you look at it with all the other profiles, and the reason I'm picking this one, I'll tell you, I used the Speed Goat straight out of the box. I cleaned 7 animals with that thing before I sharpened it. Now, animal 7, it was a pig, so nobody, give me too hard of a time here, but I just wanted to get through the process of it. And there were times where it was like, man, I want to sharpen this thing, but I just took a little more time and still got through it. But 7 animals without having to retouch, resharpen, I always do suggest that you resharpen, even in the process of 1 animal. Just keep that thing razor sharp. But they're durable knives. They're any kind of Montana Knife Company is in that $250 to $300 price range, maybe a little
Yep.
more. But that is an American made production knife that I can 100% stand behind. Every single design I have, from their field to their kitchen knives, unbelievable.
Do you have some
And
of the
as a,
kitchen knives?
I have one of the. Let me see. It should be right here. It's around here somewhere. I've got too many knives to count, honestly. Like that's my private obsession is knives,
Yeah.
but it's here somewhere. It is their 7-inch chef's
Yep.
blade,
Yep.
and that is a wonderful knife. It's actually as good as the fillet knife, which I do have their fillet knife and
Yep.
their tomahawk, or their hatchet as well.
Yep.
But the fillet knife is just, it's a step above even their chef's knife. But I've filleted skins on fish with that chef's knife.
Yep.
So, you know, $300 knife, Montana Knife Company, a little more than that, I can give you a bunch of people. But if you have a budget,
Yeah.
and you're looking for something a little cheaper than that, Michael Vasquez out of Texas, Vasquez Knives,
Hmm.
he was actually the guy that started the obsession for me. Met him at Rogue American Apparel in Texas. He brought me a knife that he had made for me, and it was made from a lawnmower blade. But it's actually, honest to God, it has been one on my hip more than any other knife I've ever owned. Some of it's sentimentality, but 100% of the reason is it is done. It's a workhorse.
Yeah.
Like, it is a beast of a knife. And he usually runs. When I met him, he was a little bit cheaper, but he's progressed. So Mike Vasquez Knives on Instagram, Montana Knife Company, and as another stocking stuffer that anybody can afford and is on hand, the Work Sharp
Yep. I
knife
got that one.
sharpener.
I've got that one too on my list.
Yeah. This is $40. I was just telling Ross I sharpened some broadheads yesterday with it. It actually works extremely well for knives, broadheads. I always keep this or a little pocket one in my bino case or my backpack in the field.
Yep.
Last thing you want is an opportunity on an animal with a dull blade. So that's a no brainer for me.
Having a we should, in hindsight, and I'm glad we're doing it now, but like categorizing it as a stocking stuffer category would have been good for me to organize what I wrote down a little bit easier.
Yeah. Well, it's weird. It's like there's a catch point. There's like a bell curve,
Yeah.
because it's like the stocking stuffers are either super cheap and small, or then the most expensive things in the world are like super small stocking stuffer worthy. You know what I mean? But you want to have the big stuff under the tree. So,
Oh, lost you there. Oh, got you back.
all right.
Um, Let me think. The last two that I would categorize, these would probably be my last two that I'd categorize on the stocking stuffer category. Um, Anything from Tacticalories, as far
Yeah.
as seasoning, sauces, any of that stuff. I mean, we're friends with Casey, and Casey was originally a part of this deal at the very beginning
Yeah.
too. And so, but it's because it's amazing. Like,
Yeah.
I've
You
got-
want, I mean, I've never turned someone on to Tacticalories that didn't, you know, at least appreciate it. They may not have ordered more, but not everybody's just thinking about spices ahead, but you should, because these are different. These are profiles, um, that he's kind of hand selected for different things. So it's, if you're looking for a chili, he's got that. If you're looking for a steak, he's got that. If you're looking for something a little sweeter, like a rib or some kind of chicken, he's got all of it. So
yeah,
super good dude. small business. Again, great friend to both of us, you know, as far as the support and just being around and being always willing to help. So
Did I tell you the story about when I brought some stuff down to my parents' house last Christmas and what happened to my mom when I showed her all the stuff? I think it started with I did the turkey last year. I did the full turkey gobbler brine kit last year for Thanksgiving, which is
the dip makes the kit worth it,
the dips,
but the
the
brine
best.
is phenomenal.
Yeah. And I brought down a couple of sauces and stuff because we were doing something for Christmas, and I was just bringing some. And I think I did the prime rib rub because I did a brisket last year with it,
Mm-hmm.
and I can't remember what that one's called. And is that Carving House?
No, oh, the Carving House is one of the blends, but it's the Prime Carver or Carver's Prime. I
Something
think
like
it's
that.
Carver's
Yeah.
Prime. Yeah.
And but so I went down, I showed her the stuff, I told her the story. I was like, this, you know, it's a good friend of mine, he makes this stuff, and it's all killer. Like, I haven't found one thing I haven't liked yet. Next time I went down, like a month later, she literally had like 6 bottles of sauce in the fridge, and she opened up her drawer, and half her spice drawer was like all the various kinds of stuff. I texted Casey, I'm like, if you
Yeah.
got a random order for so the last one I would say in stocking stuffer would be Protect, just because that's
Yeah.
something that and that's an easy one. Hydration wise, they have good. The sleep one is probably my favorite that they make.
Yep.
The sleep supplement, but they do great hydration ones. The watermelon one's awesome. But another one, guys that we know, guys that are awesome and make good stuff. Like, that's the running theme of all of this stuff. It's usually people that we know that we've used their stuff and it's awesome.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we wouldn't
Well,
be using it.
last one for me on the stocking stuffer front would be Defense Soap.
Ah,
Again, know these guys, great people. It started as kind of an antifungal jujitsu soap,
yep,
but they've evolved it into now it is a healthy skin environment soap, and they use different tea tree oils and this, that, and the other, and it's actually skin moisturizing, uh, and it improves the skin health as an overall. And great people, they've always just been super communicative through DM and whatnot, always appreciative if I share anything. And I really, really do like the product.
yep,
And like anybody, if you're in a jiu-jitsu gym, you're always somewhat susceptible to other people's um, hygiene practices and whatnot.
or lack
So
thereof.
having the wipes and then having the soap as well as like different options from them,
Yep,
you can really, really cover all your bases. Because I've had to leave class and run errands. I take a wipe and kind of wipe myself down until I can get to the soap at home and never ever have an issue. So
yep,
Defense Soap, you're talking, you can get a 3-pack for $20 or something like that, and they're
yeah.
really, really, really good.
Sweet. Well, let's move on to, you want to do hunt stuff or training stuff?
Let's do training stuff.
Okay. Sounds good. I just wrote down 2 things because I figured everything else would be covered under what you wrote down. It's in terms of similarities of the two.
Sure.
Um, I know we have center mass bells on there that you wrote down and stuff, but
Mm-hmm.
all of the kettlebells that I have that I've used forever have all come from kettlebellkings.com,
Mm-hmm.
and they make incredibly high quality kettlebells and stuff. I have the cast iron ones, like the one piece cast iron ones that are awesome. Mine
Mm-hmm.
go. I have mine from 26 all the way up to 106 pounds, varying weights and stuff in between there.
Mm-hmm.
But I freaking brutalize those things, and they're left outside a lot. They're left in freezing cold sheds. They're left in mud and dirt when I'm using them in the yard and stuff for a few days at a time when I forget to put them away. And like there's zero chipping, there's zero anything. Like, they're just super well made kettlebells, and I've used them for like 6-7 years now and loved them. So Kettlebell Kings would be up on that list for me.
Yeah. Well, for me, I mentioned the center mass bells, and one of the things that people kind of, they wonder about them is what is the benefit? Well, unlike a dumbbell, you're never going to have that moment when the bottom or the top kind of pulls you out of your
Yeah.
your momentum curve. Some people may not like that statement, but I do. As I age, you don't want shearing on the joint. You don't want anything that's kind of out of balance. You just want to stay in a good plane. And those center mass bells are exactly that. They're centrifugally massed. So when you move those things around or you pronate or supinate your hand, as long as you stay in the plane, that thing will stay balanced, and it
Yeah.
opens up an entire different world of stimulation process.
Yep.
So those are really, really good. I suggested two 35s, $100 a piece, $200 for the set. Try those out. And if nothing else, it's going to satisfy one area in your arsenal of I've got 25-pound dumbbells, 50-pound dumbbells, and so on. It's going to be a filler spot for you, but it's
Yep.
also going to be a tester. If you like it, great, buy more. If you don't, you've got a set and it's going to be functional. The way I use those a lot differently than some is I'll actually use the lip a lot more. I'll carry those like a farmer's carry just in the lip, even 35 pounds. You may not get the burn in 20 yards, but if you walk 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 10 minutes with those things in your fingers,
Yep.
come back and shake my hand tomorrow and we'll see how good it feels. Like they're a very, very versatile tool. T Mac, he puts a kind of like a spud ink strap through them and throws them like a damn hammer. Like he throws them over his shoulder and everything. And they're ductile. Yeah, they're ductile iron. So be sure that when you're looking at any product similar or not, ductile iron
Yeah.
is a stronger, more durable. It's a longer lasting iron. It's got more rust preventative qualities and so on and so
Yep.
forth. And if you were to swing it into another light object of a lesser material, it might destroy that one as well. So ductile iron is the way to go in those for sure. I've got cast iron and ductile iron kettlebells, and I can't tell a difference. And for
Yep.
most people, you probably wouldn't too on the center mass bells. But if you're going to spend a discerning dollar and you can get basically the same price point for different
Yep.
material, always choose the better material.
The other only thing that I wrote down under the training category is $110 Rubbermaid stock tank, 100 gallons.
Yeah,
For all my ice bath
ice
folk
baths.
that easy, like it's a very accessible way to do it, to get into it.
Mhm.
In this scenario, unless you live in the northern part of the country like I do, where now we're at the time where it doesn't matter if I have ice, I can leave it in water overnight and I have
Yeah,
plenty cold water. In this scenario, you'll have to buy ice unless
yeah,
you're unless you're like in the environment where I am. But it's something where it's like, if you want to get into it and you want to do it, you don't have to drop $5,000 on one of these Morozco forged,
yeah.
chilled
It's made out
filtered,
of
all
hand
these
harvested
things
copper, something like that. It's just $20,000, and it's a
chiseled
nice.
out of Greek marble.
Yeah,
And so you don't need that to just get started, because that's one of the, when I post ice bath stuff, it's like, well, what do I need to do? I'm like, dude, just find something to put water and ice in. It doesn't matter what it is.
yeah,
And those are essentially what things like ice barrels are, for several $100s less than what those things are.
yeah. Or
So,
bathtubs. I
or
mean,
just a straight bathtub.
I've used
See,
my bathtub 100 times for
yeah,
ice baths. $2 bag
exactly.
ice. Get to
And we
town.
actually don't even have one in this house. Like, we are in a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom thing, and we have a shower. So there's not even a tub in this. So I have to have one of those things for submersive stuff. But
Sure.
even like the shower can get cold enough, especially
Yeah,
in the winter when pipes are colder anyways. But
yeah,
like, if you want to just get into it, you can go to any Tractor Supply or something like that, or even order them from Amazon. They're like $110
yep.
for 100-gallon thing, which is big enough for almost everybody to have one.
Well, and I'll say this too. This is, obviously, I think the mace is a worthwhile lifelong investment.
Mm-hmm.
$260 for a 10 kilo. They go up variably from there, but a 10 kilo, I think most people will need beyond that. But leverage is a wonderful thing because you can change the angle on your hand positioning and gain more
Yep.
tension.
Yep.
So a 10 kilo serves me very well. I have a 14, but the 10 is my primary that I use most often.
Yep.
And $260 there. I would say some battle ropes. That's a really, really excellent home edition. You can find those anywhere from $79 to $250,
Mm-hmm.
and again, just do a little reading and use a little discernment and you'll be able to figure out where you need to go. Wolf Brigade also offers battle ropes. Sornex offers battle ropes.
Yep.
Um, I think something like that is a valuable tool. And furthermore, I would just tell someone to find a generic sled of some sort. If
Yeah.
you're looking for a home gym training tool that will really directly correlate to benefit, just find a sled. You can find some of these simple things, or hell, you can get a straight pipe and weld it. It's like one circular weld and a
Yeah.
horseshoe welded on the end, and you can like link right up and be dragging in an
I've
hour.
done it with a tire. Like
Yeah,
you
for
take
sure.
you drill a hole through the tire with one of those
Yep.
like eyelet hooks, and you
Yep.
get a chain and a belt on the other side, and then you can just load stuff on top of the tire, and it's just as easy.
Yeah. It
So
sucks worse than slick metal, but it
yeah,
is definitely the same. I
yeah,
mean, you're not trying to do something with a sled that's fun anyway.
right,
Like it's supposed to be effective. So
right,
that's a good one.
yep. Do you have
Oh,
anything
and here's a
else?
freebie. Here's a
Yeah,
freebie.
yeah, do it.
All of your localized large tire, I guess you would say, disposals.
Yeah,
So, like, there's a Firestone around here in Lexington that is a sales and disposal. You can go up there at any time and pick up a tractor tire used
yep,
for free because they have to then pay to dispose of it. So you can get from a little one up to 1,000 pounds or more. If you're strong enough to do it, you can get these tires for free. So look for places like your Firestone Service Center or whatnot, not the oil change, but like the tire hub where they would actually be a distributor to all the
Les
local
Schwab has
Firestone.
them a bunch too.
Yeah.
Yep.
So they're out there, but that's a freebie. And if you just want to surprise somebody with an awesome way to get strong and jacked for free,
Yeah.
go pick them up a tractor tire.
Yes. Do you have anything else in the training category?
Not really. I mean, I
Okay.
can name a few other things. An Ancor would probably be the other one. You know, it's a $650 unit, but it gives you a variable cable system
Yep.
anywhere you want, from the
They're
back of
sweet.
your truck to your home gym to whatever you can attach it to. So,
Yep. They're
pretty
sweet.
awesome deal.
Okay. Want to move on to hunt stuff now.
Yep.
So I further categorized this into apparel and then gear,
Yep.
just so we could keep things separated a little bit. So I'll start on the gear side of things. I'll work from what I've been using the most recently that
Hmm.
I've really enjoyed, and I'll do arrows first because that's been one of the things I've been really obviously diving into lately. But if you're a trad guy out
Hmm.
there, I've been shooting the Black Eagle Instincts and are killer. The ones that I have are the 350 spine, and I have a 100 grain insert or outsert, and then or half, I think it's a half out on these ones, and then 150 tip, so 250 up front and the 350 spine, and I have the fletchings and everything that came with them straight out of the box.
Yeah, they're beautiful right
They're
out of the
they're
box.
awesome. They're awesome. I
Yeah.
actually shot two of the fletchings off of them last night at league night, so I had to left them there to get refletched. But they're great. I really enjoyed those ones. I've done the traditional arrows that Easton had also that I liked,
Hmm. Yep.
but
The vintage.
the vintage ones, yep. And
Yep.
I've really liked these Black Eagle ones. So that's been the most recent for me. And with that, we were talking about it when you were doing the sharpening thing earlier. But as far as broad, I've had the Rocky Mountain Specialty cutthroats, the 3 blade,
Hmm.
which are the ones that I use this year. And the like if you're a 3 blade or a 2 blade, whatever, they have 2 blade versions that are single bevels on the 2 blades, which is cool.
Yep.
But the 3 blade ones are awesome and they're shaped cool. They have like this concave kind of shape rather than a straight
Yep.
deal on all of them. But we were talking before when you were sharpening them, like they can get crazy sharp. Like it's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Well, just on a simple metal file and that work sharp tool, that 20-degree guide I showed you, I was able to take these from a 500 as far as their sharpness on the razor scale or the sharpness scale down to a 185,
That's
which
wild.
is essentially like a double-sided razor. I mean,
Yep.
it's insanely sharp. So was able to get those under 200 just with those two things. But the Rocky Mountain 3 blade cutthroat has
Yep.
been absolutely devastating. That was the one I shot it, and I shot the front shoulder or just beside the front shoulder, so it didn't hit bone, it hit flesh of a pig, and it literally penetrated all the way through the pig and came out the opposite hind quarter. And you're talking about something moving at 174 to 180 feet per second as far as the arrow, which is like walking in terms compared to the compound speeds that we
Seriously.
see of like
Double that.
280 to 300. So just an absolutely well designed broadhead. Another broadhead that I've used very successfully this year. And these are not because of preference, these are just because of weight variance. I tried to get a 150 in a build, a 175, and then a 200 in a build.
Yep.
The Rocky Mountains are 200 grains, they offer those down to 100.
Yep.
And then the Evolution Outdoors Jekyll, which is their fixed blade, it's the Dangerous Game set at 175 grain. Absolutely been devastating. And then I have 150 iron wills and evolutions that I've been using as well. Cannot tell you that all three of those will do the job. And I'll kind of categorize them as this: the evolution is probably the lowest price point on the three,
Yep.
but also like you can reuse them and you can sharpen them, and they have replacement kits that are much cheaper for just some of the bleeder blades and stuff, but they are a little bit harder to sharpen. So that might be categorized a little more in a replaceable or disposable
Sure.
broadhead.
Sure.
Whereas the Rocky Mountains, they come in a little more expensive, around 70. Those are definitely, they can be sharpened and
For a
resharpened and
3-pack
reused.
of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then lastly, the iron will, which is basically just it's a steel cutting steel. So it's one of the hardest, best edge retention steels you can put on the market, and the merger of both, they're going to be like 129 to 30 for three.
Gotcha.
So that's kind of three tiered for me. The
Yeah.
evolution, killer, amazing, very affordable, and likely you can sharpen, but may need to replace.
Yep.
The other two, as they get a little more expensive, can be sharpened and maintained as long as you're willing to do that. So,
Yep. For sure. Um, in that same category with trad stuff, because we've talked about them a lot on here. A cool gift idea also for the trad guys is having one of the Selway quivers. I wrote that down because they're
yep,
super high quality, and we talk about Drew and what they do all the time, but it's literally just super high quality stuff. And they, if you want to go the custom route, he can do custom engravings like he's done with the ones that each of us have.
yep,
Any design, like anything you want, you send him the file and he'll give you the specs and stuff, and he'll laser print the some bitch right on the
yeah,
rawhide, and it's awesome. So there, and
yeah,
there also is like the rawhide and plastic hood versions of,
mhm,
like, there's different versions of them, different price points as well. So budget wise, you have options. But yeah, they're super killer. So Selway Archery for those.
yeah. I think for me, another one that I would say, as far as the gear stuff, is a good flashlight, like for the field,
Ooh.
something that is not super super heavy, but also like has the right lumens.
Yep.
And Nemo has been a company that I've started using some of their stuff on. I have no working relationship or even introduction to the company. This was just on the suggestion of a couple of my friends, and I've really really liked their stuff. They do tend to be 10 to 15% more than a lot of the competitors,
Sure.
but I have seen the ease of use, the life of the battery, as well as the brightness of the bulbs or the LED is just insanely good. So Nemo's would be something that I would recommend if you're looking
Do
for a
they do
flashlight.
headlamps too, or
Yeah, they
just
do it all. They do
flashlights?
the
Do they?
works. They do
Yeah.
everything. Yeah.
I'm always looking for good headlamps and stuff.
Yeah. I need to just go back to like the coal miner style, like the big, just train in,
Just
the
take the
train
front
engine
end
on
off
the
a
front of your,
flashlight.
yeah, exactly. But,
One big.
no, man, they used to use those when they were coon hunting at night. Some
Yeah,
of the coon hunters' helmets were incredible.
that's awesome.
So,
Um, I have one category that's in here that's optics related.
yep,
Uh, so the ones that I use Vortex stuff right currently,
yep,
anyways. I've really enjoyed the Vortex. The binos that I have are the 10x42 Diamondbacks,
yep.
and I mean,
That's a great bino set.
great bino set, and it's on the more affordable end of stuff of that Vortex makes, which is already kind of priced at a place that's more accessible to a lot of hunters that don't have to go the several $1,000 Swarovski route, to
Right.
get good stuff.
Yep.
But I mean, the type of hunting that I do, where I'm doing a lot of distance viewing, like cross
Hmm.
canyons, multiple canyons, like you've seen. I've posted some pictures of stuff. If you're a guy that hunts out west, covers every basis that you'd need out here. Like 10x42, I think, is the most general, like, can get the job done no matter what type of hunting that you're doing for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of is like the mace, right? It
Yeah.
comes down to what are you going to use most often?
Yep.
And most people, if you're just going to be a generalized hunter, I think a 1042 or a 1050 is a really, really good
Yeah.
option, or a 12 by 50. It would be the other argument there.
Sure.
Or some of the, I mean, Swaros makes 11s, SIGs makes 11s. So it's kind of like, within those scope of numbers, 1042 and 1250, that's kind of the range that
Yeah.
we're talking about there. But I use the Sig Zulus, and they're they're so impressive for the price point. They're just over $1,000, and it somewhere falls into price point is a little bit above Leupold and about half of a Swarovski,
Yep.
and you get into like Zeiss or Swaros or Lucas or anything like that, you're going to be in a similar price point there. But what I'll tell you for the price point of the Sig Zulus is that if somebody didn't know and wasn't trained every day on Swaros and you would just look through them occasionally, the step up from most of the competitors in that price point to the SIGs is significant. And for somebody that, like I said, wasn't used to Swaros would be like, man, these are like crystal clear. And I mean, crystal is in like the technology
Yeah.
crystal that's used in
Yeah.
Swaros. It feels like that. But then obviously beside, you put a set of Swaros on right after that, and you're going to get more detail than the SIGs.
For
But
sure.
as a mid-level, mid to upper level, $1,000 set of binos that will last you for years, I think the Sig Zulus have been really good. More on the economic side, I've had the Vortex Diamondbacks myself.
Hmm.
I've had the Leupold Centiums or Santiums, however you say that. All of them have been really, really good. It's just that I found myself in a position that I could get those SIGs, and they worked better than what I was using previously. So, but again, I killed animals with everything I've used. So,
And the next step, as far as magnification goes, if I was going up in magnification, for what I type of hunting I do, just I'd go for a spotting scope. And Vortex, the one that I've used was one of the Razor HDs,
mm-hmm.
and that was what we used on when we're hunting up mule deer this year. That's generally what I would use a spotting scope more for, is hunting mule deer when
Yep,
they're way hard to see just in general already.
yeah.
Those Razor HDs from Vortex are really well made. So for spotting scope purposes, that would be so that would be where I'd go for that.
Yeah, I mean, and again, it depends on what you need and what you're looking for. Like
Mm-hmm.
my 11s are my 10s essentially, but they're an 11 are my SIGs. My
Mm-hmm.
15s are still Leupold, and then I have a SIG spotting scope.
Yeah.
So typically, when I replace gear, I do it in off years or every couple of years. So the 15s will probably upgrade, but those will actually be something more. I'm not just going to buy another set of 15s. I'll probably buy a set of like Swaro 12s.
Sure.
You just trying to refine my kit because I'm still going to have the 15s. You know what I mean? So it doesn't
Yeah.
make sense to replace a 15 with another 15.
Yeah.
But I do like the Leupold 15s a lot relatively to the SIG. I didn't see a significant gain in the higher scope volumes of the SIG versus the
Sure.
Leupold. Leupold seemed to get better as they went higher.
Yep.
But the SIG scope has been amazing for me this year, and last year too. I mean, I got it at the end of the season, was able to use it a little bit, but I've scouted some and used it pretty religiously. The all in the mag scope stuff is also a huge benefit if you're going to be digiscoping. Um, I know a few people that are tied over there. Isaac Ailman Sr., Martin Chag. I think it's actually Martin's design on some of that stuff because he's a guru when it comes to scouting and shed hunting and stuff. So check those out. All in
Yep.
Ollin. They're a great digiscope company.
Yep. That's a good one. The other one my last one in the gear section, well, I guess there's two that they kind of go together, is packs and bino harness.
Yep.
I've been using for the last 2 seasons now. I've had my T&K
Mm-hmm.
harness, which are so incredibly well made. Another
Yeah.
made in America place, made over in South Dakota. They're growing really well and really steadily and making just incredible stuff. And what I love, he might be one of the better Instagram marketers of a small business that I've seen, just in the sense of he will say exactly what it is that needs to be said about pricing and dealing with customers that are a hassle, but still also at the same time, like having really amazing customer service.
Yeah.
Like
Like
it's
if
not
you're
like
not an
he's just
asshole,
crapping on people for
yeah.
no reason. Like it's he knows how to deal with trolls really
Yeah.
well,
Well,
and I
and
appreciate that about him.
he's a Marine, so it's like
Exactly.
you're not going to get
Exactly.
much past that guy that he hasn't seen or heard. But yeah,
Exactly.
I like what he's about a lot, for the same reasons. Like if you give it to him, he's going to give it back. But if you
Yep.
really need help, he will go bend his back out of the way to do anything he can for you.
Yep.
I have the Gen 2 pouch. I'm a little bit sour that I don't have a Gen 3 yet, in that
Yeah.
um, I bought a couple marsupial bino packs this year. I bought the frog skin, and then I bought a gray one. Shout out to Jim at Marsupial for just being an awesome fucking owner of another American made company here
Yep.
in the States. And then this year, primarily because of I've just kind of been on a testing little bit crew with the Kafaru Bino pack.
Mm-hmm.
I got it early release and was just asked to give honest feedback on it. I have no complaints whatsoever about the T and K that I have, the marsupials that I have, the Kafarus that I have. They are all very different.
Yeah.
They all have different feature options. And it's like when I'm wearing one, it's like, oh, I wish it was a little bit more like this one in this regard,
Yep.
but everything else is the way I want it. And then when
Yeah.
I'm wearing the other one, it's like, this is awesome. I just wish it had this little feature that the other one has. So I don't think you're going to find one unless you build one, from start to finish. You're not going to find an exact pack that satisfies every single detail that you're looking for.
Yeah.
And one of the drawbacks to using multiple things is that you start to learn things that you like, but some of your favorite products don't have those options.
Sure. Yeah.
So again, I think made in America, Bino pack, Kafaru, T&K, Marsupial, they're all within $5-10 of the same set. They're so unbelievably customizable to what you need, whether it's
Yeah.
accessory pack, a rangefinder pack, or a gun holster, or a hand muff,
Yep.
whatever it may be. Like these can be built exactly to what you want. Support American made. Those are three good ones.
And as far as the accessory parts go, because like you said, you can customize the whole kit to whatever you need. The
Mm-hmm.
one I run, I have the rangefinder pouch on one side, and
Yep.
I have the wind check pouch on the other. And
Yep.
then next year, I'm going to add in, I'm going to add in the behind the rut holster that goes
Yep.
behind, because he's made it so you can attach them to the TNK stuff really
Yeah.
easily.
Yeah.
And then they've actually also come out with, he's revamped the back, like the belt thing, so it's actually
Yeah.
more backpacky on the
Yeah.
back, fills out a little bit more on the back, and looks way comfortable. So I think I'll probably replace my back half with what one
Yeah.
has those as well. So like you said, all of these totally customizable to whatever kind of hunting you're doing. But yeah, those have been the really good ones for me. And then as far as packs, like you mentioned Kifaru already, the one pack that I've used pretty consistently for the last 2 years was EXO Mountain Gear.
Mm-hmm.
Another local place, like they make them right here in Boise, just a handful of minutes away. Great. They have great customer service, great warranty on things as well. Like, or even if you have any issues, like if a belt breaks or
Mm-hmm.
something frays or whatever, like they'll either replace that part, or I've heard of several times they've replaced the entire bag
Yeah.
if something happens like that. So they're really good about taking care of people and customers in
And
that
they're in the
regard.
ultralight market.
Yeah,
Like they're the ones that are focused on like the ultralight backpack hunter,
they're
and they're
yeah,
really well made.
they are super. And like again, I've put some stuff through I put it through the ringer on a couple of instances with the one pack I've used specifically, which I have because they're all interchangeable. So the bag part that I've used was the 3600
Yeah.
size wise.
Yeah.
For the type, I don't need any bigger than that, because my hunts usually aren't more than like three-ish days at a time.
Yeah.
Like if I was going back and having to bivvy in and like carry 6 days worth of stuff, I'd get one of the bigger 4800 or
Sure.
72 or whatever the biggest one is. But the
Yeah.
36 is perfect for like a 3 to 4 day situation where you can, if you're coming back to camp at night and whatever, but still have enough to carry stuff out and bring whatever you need in. So yeah, that's been the one that's been good to me.
Yeah, so for me, I kind of gave a full deconstruction of my bag because it's been a herk and jerk for me. Like, I liked it, and then I added some accessory bags to it, and then they were great, and then I found out another option was available. So it's kind of like mutated into the exact bag that I love.
Yeah.
Not for everybody, but I just want to break it down. So the initial bag is the Striker XL from Kafaru.
Mm-hmm.
And imagine this as a clamshell bag that you could stuff an elk leg in between the clamshell, whatever, with still having a true backpack on the front side. Now, being that it is designed as a camp pack or a pack out pack originally, you do lose some of your carry. So like I couldn't pack for a 2-3 day trip in just this bag unless I filled my clamshell. but I didn't want to get dirt on my clothes or didn't want to get debris on it. So I added a camp bag. What that is just a top down foldable that wedges right into the clamshell perfectly,
Yep.
snaps. I have a Sherman pocket on the outside that is like a clamshell for the front. So I've got two clamshells and then three separate individual containers that are within. And it makes it so versatile. Like you can literally strip the Sherman pocket off the front in two clips.
Yep.
You can take the camp bag out and suck it down with the straps, and now you just have a one tier backpack. So it's versatile as you want it to be, and it's all clip system. It's got webbing on it for different editions and whatnot. The bag itself is $325. The Sherman pocket is $100, and the camp bag is about $100. So it's expensive. It's $525 for the kit.
Yep.
Plus, you have to have a frame. So the fact of the matter is, this is an investment. But I have hunted as hard as I've ever hunted the last 2 years, and save a couple of whitetail hunts where it was like quick in and out, small bag stuff. This
Yep.
bag has been on my shoulders religiously when I've traveled, when I've hunted, when I've done everything. So for me, the initial cost of entry is met by the quality, the warranty, and the fact that it is made by people I know, friends I trust in America. So that's the one for me. Obviously, I have a couple other bags from Kafaru that are great, but if somebody was looking for a one-time cover all your bases, that Striker XL camp pack Sherman pocket.
I think that's it for me on gear. We can kind of move into the final one that I have written down anyways, which is on the apparel side of stuff.
Yeah.
And I'll start from the bottom up. I'll start with boots, uh, because the boots that I use are probably not the ones that most people hunting use,
Okay.
and so you get a lot of, I think you put in one in there, but I used for the last 2 years the Vivo barefoot
Yeah.
trackers.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a version that's they've redone, but the ones that I have, the trackers are amazing, and they're, it's real genuine leather made out of them. They're really high quality made. But I've been a barefoot shoe guy for a long time now, and I'm to the
Mm-hmm.
point where like even wearing a pair of Vans hurts my feet because of how closed in it feels, like I'm
Yeah.
wearing a cast. And so
Yeah.
I tried it with a couple of like, I've tried on Crispies and I've tried on
Mm-hmm.
Schnees and like all
Yeah.
these things, and they just feel too tight on my feet. And so
Yeah.
I went last year thinking like, am I even going to be able to wear these in a hunting scenario and have them perform how I need them to? And
Mm-hmm.
I'm back.
Thought something bad happened.
Oh, it was almost the end right there, everybody. Mic just came unplugged. I took them the first time I took them was on my elk hunt last September in 22. And I mean, they were as good as anything. And I will say this, having done the barefoot shoe thing for so long prior, I was in a much better place. I wouldn't necessarily, if you've never done barefoot shoes or like gone that realm, I wouldn't say buy a pair of trackers and then go on a hunt if you've never worn stuff like that, because
Yeah.
you're not, your feet and your ankle and your lower leg health and strength is probably not where it needs to be in order to wear shoes like that. So
Mm-hmm.
that would be my one preface or caveat to getting those, is if you've never worn anything like that. But I got them for Christmas the year prior, and basically I have like two things of shoes that I wear. Like I have those grounding sandals that
Mm-hmm.
I got from Rob at the Grounded Athlete,
Yep.
which that's another thing actually on here that isn't hunt related, but I figured I'd throw those in there. Um, and I have like one pair of Vivo trainers and then my Vivo
Mm-hmm.
boots. Like that's literally the only shoe wear I ever wear, because I'm to that point where most just feel super weird on my feet. But those ones that, and what's nice about them, because they have so much bend and flex and they let your foot splay. I noticed this and was told this when I was hunting this year with Charles, was he's like, a lot of times when we're in on a stalk, guys will take their boots off, go in their socks, so they're making less noise. He's like, those are actually pretty dang quiet because they're
Yeah.
they're so soft and they move really well. They move basically just like heavy socks.
Mm-hmm.
So that filled a need in that regard too. So the Vivo barefoot trackers are, yeah, from boot standpoint, are killer.
Yeah, I'll just run down a quick list of all my boots. The ones that I suggest most, that I've used most heavily, would be the Crispy Thor 2 GTX.
Yep.
They're about $275 right now, roughly
That's
in the
not bad.
$300 range.
For boots,
The
that's
Han,
good.
yeah, and they've stood up for me, and I believe that they're a wide. I can't remember, but I think they're the wide because they're made in Italy and they're a little bit narrow anyway. So the wide was like a mandatory for me. But the Hanwag Makras, and it's spelled Hanwag, but it's Hanwag. Makra is another boot that I've worn with great success. It wears almost like a basketball shoe, a little less stiff than the Crispy, but not much. Like those
Yep.
two are in the same ballpark, and it's right around the same price point. Daily, just kind of like pig hunting. I'm on the ground. I'm moving a lot. The Solomons, I can't
Yeah.
remember which model they are, but they're like a GTX version, and they're super light, about 125 bucks. And then from there, the lacrosse gun boots or mud boots is what I call them, and an 800 and a 1600. If you have, I mean, that sounds like a lot of boots, but you have an early season in the Solomon, you have a Western and a mid season in the Crispy or the Hanwag,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have late season in the lacrosse mud boots. Like you've pretty much covered all your bases right there.
Yeah. Solid. And I was actually just looking up because I wasn't sure where the prices were on the Vivos anymore. The
160.
ones that I have were 240.
Okay.
And then the one that's the next, as far as it's basically just more insulated and a little
Yeah.
stiffer in the ankle for kind of like those late season, late November, December stuff when you're in some snow and that kind of stuff. They're 270. So
Okay.
it's only a $30 difference in there. But so as far as, I mean, pretty comparable across the board
Yeah.
as far as price. They're not going to be, several hundred extra dollars or something like that. But if you're
Sure.
in the barefoot footwear world, they're good stuff.
Yeah.
Um, I have two that are kind of accessory apparel stuff. So the one that I've really enjoyed this season was the Uomo beanie that I
Mhm.
have, which Uomo is Cody DeQuisto's
Yeah.
company that he makes apparel for, and I actually really want to get. He has a wool flannel top
Mhm.
that's like an
Yeah.
outerwear
Oh, yeah,
top.
I've seen that.
Ooh,
Yeah.
it's dope. So I can't speak to that one yet because I haven't tried it. So I'm technically not putting that on the list, but I'm just saying that's what I really want to try from him. But the hat is super comfy one, and then kind of another accessory. I think you wrote them on here too, but I did as well. First Light has some fingerless gloves that are
Yeah.
super solid. That I'm big on fingerless glove stuff when I go. So
Yeah,
those
they're
would be
called the
my
Talus, and
Talus.
they're 25 bucks.
Yeah.
And the other thing about them is, I buy mine a size down, just so they kind of fit really tight to my hand.
Yep.
Because a glove can change the way a recurve shoots.
Yep.
It can change the way that I release and everything else too. So I like those very, very light. But I just found they're mossy oak and they're a wool shell with a fleece liner from Walmart. I mean, they're like 12 bucks,
Yeah.
but they actually slide perfectly over that. So you get a merino cap
Oh
on the
yeah.
outside. Because that is one thing I will say about those. Like I've been whitetail hunting, 15 degrees, and my fingertips feel like they're going to fall off. And it's like, it's not always feasible with a sketched out, cracked out whitetail coming at you to move your hands in and out of your pocket.
Yeah.
So for me, just having that $12 outer shell solved every problem I was looking at. And not to say that they're bad. They're those Talus gloves are amazing when you need them to be amazing.
Yep.
But one of their downfalls is they do expose the fingers. My fingers get cold anymore. So that $12 solution from Walmart, it's a merino fleece blend, and they look really good. They're green, and they've got the textile, so you can touch your phone if you need to, or like Onyx or Spartan Forge, whatever.
Yep.
You won't be limited by that because a lot of gloves do kill your iPhone use.
Yeah, for sure. Um, and then we can get into the pants and tops. You want to take that one to start?
Yeah, and I broke this down kind of in the sense of, excuse me for referring to my notes here, but I think it's important, in the under $250 range, basically everything, every single thing available from the Born Primitive outdoor line is under $250. A lot of it's under 100. But if I was to tell somebody, if you had 500 bucks and you wanted to go buy two things that will really, really just kind of stand up to whatever you throw at them, I would say the Born Primitive Frontier pant, the regular, or like as of now they're heavyweight. I think they are coming with a heavier version eventually, but this is classified as the regular. It's 209 bucks. Super versatile. The pocket system is second to none. It's super, super friendly. I wear them every single day of my life, field or around. And that was the point in the design. You know, a $200 pair of pants, you don't want it to just hang outside of your hunting season. So having these pants, using them in the field, trusting them in the field, depending on them in the field, it's a well spent $200 for me. The other one that I would say would be the half zip quiver. Has probably been the most worn thing I own from Born Primitive besides the pants.
Yep.
Those run $89. They now have a full zip quiver that has the built-in face mask. That's another option. And then really a great coat for the money is the Born Primitive Outdoor Tundra jacket. It's $229, but it's their heavy duty. The lightweight is I think 189 or 209. And that's more in line of like you can think of like the lightweight Columbia or Patagonia or North Face jacket, like just the straight black jacket that most people wear.
Yep.
They have that same offering in weight in a black, a coyote, and a sage green, and then the same for the heavyweight as well. So
the heavy ones,
those would be
awesome.
my recommendations. The Tundra jackets are just, they're really, really great. They cut the wind. It's not going to be a lifesaver jacket like the Kafaru one, but it is like for $200, you're going to outpace most of your $200 jackets, I think.
And as far as specifics on the Born Primitive stuff, the Frontier pants, mine that I wear into the ground are the light versions. I know you like the regular ones, which are a little heavier, and you wear those a little bit more often. But the light ones, I have the gray and the black are the two pairs I have, which I can wear anywhere. Like it doesn't.
Yeah,
and
they're
that was
amazing.
kind of the point was when they were talking about designing these and keeping them solids, like have stuff that you can wear out when you're hunting, but then it's not weird if you go to a date or go out somewhere and you're wearing the stuff still. So
well, some of the camo stuff we were talking about this morning as far as pants, I mean, there's camo pants out there that are $400, $250, $300. And dude, you can look at my closet, you can look at every bag of clothes I've ever donated, and I've never had $300 pair of camo pants. You know what I mean? And it's just because my dollar is too discerning for that. Like if I spend $300 on pants, I'm going to buy 4 pairs of $75 regular pants that I can use in the field rather than one pair of pants that only gets used on one specific hunt. So, and if you got the money, get it. But I'm just saying, I think multifunction, like I was thinking about this kind of in regards to the list. I am not a material possessor. I am more of a necessity possessor. Like I definitely have some material things, but most of the things I own, I use on a regular basis or are functional tools towards what I do. I don't have just a lot of material stuff that sits on a shelf or looks pretty in a frame. Like my shit gets used or I don't have it.
Yep, totally.
All
right. That's the list. I think we crushed it.
Yeah, man. Any last things that you've got going on? Like just something that really sticks out to you as a must buy?
Honestly, I don't think so. I'm looking back over the list right now, and I think I pretty much covered like all the avenues that I wanted to make sure we covered, because it's easy to come on and just talk about a million things, but it's like,
for sure,
this is a holiday deal. What would actually make good gifts?
Yeah. Well, and beyond that too, like there's a couple of things that maybe will pop in or we talked about that I didn't write down. We'll get those in an organized list. So it's
we're gonna put it in the newsletter and email out, like with everything, with the links, with everything that we've covered today will all be in an email that goes out this week.
Yeah. So, and make sure this is a perfect time to sign up for the list or to sign up for the email list. It's free. You get benefits of stuff like this in a condensed clickable format where you can, I don't know what the fuck he said, but there it is. There's the pants he was talking about. Boom, link, you there. So you don't even have to pay attention to this thing to get benefits from the email.
Beautiful. That's how it goes. Make it easy. Remove one barrier for everybody. That's my goal.
Spread some holiday cheer, folks.
All right. Thank you, guys. We'll catch up next week.
All right. Appreciate you guys. Thanks so much.